Hey, what's up? Long time no see. What is up, YouTube? My name is Mario, aka the real Super Mario. Check out the main channel because the main channel is popping, aka YouTube's greatest fat man here, aka the loot box hero. All right, so I decided to do something similar to what I do on the main channel. So if you don't listen to the main channel, I kind of do like these big kind of news videos, and I have like Nintendo news and Pokemon and Overwatch and Zelda, whatever the stuff is I cover on the main channel. I decided to do a video like that on this channel. And the main reason I'm doing this is because everything in this video I have wanted to do a video about. I have started to write videos about them, but I end up hopping from one topic to another topic to another topic. And I'm like, I want to do videos on all these topics, so I'm just going to do them all. Now, of course, some of these topics will get their own individual video, and some of them won't, you know. So this is a loot box news video, as it were. So, of course, you want to continue getting videos like this from me. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button, all that good stuff that YouTube requires you to do to continue getting videos from me. Follow me at twitter.com/rsmario128. Like my video tweet, share my video tweet, and I'll shout you out at this portion of the video. So, let's get on into the loot box news. As soon as I start doing news content, like crazy news wants to happen. It's insane, bro. But I recorded this video Friday, I believe. You know, and of course, Sunday, more news comes out. So here we go. I'm just going to add this in here, though. So, Joe Biden has basically dropped out of the race. So he has given up his presidential bid. I mean, people were saying that it was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I didn't believe them. Personally, I didn't think Joe Biden was going to give it up. I thought Joe Biden was going to run with this, and he was going to take the L, and then he was going to leave. And then everybody was going to be like, oh, you know, Trump stole the election because Russian bots or Chinese Twitter followers or whatever. You know, I thought it was going to be a mess regardless. I had no idea Joe Biden actually was going to give up. That's kind of crazy. So he dropped this letter this morning. It said, my fellow Americans, over the last 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. I don't know about that. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and expanding government affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We've provided critical, needed care to millions of veterans exposed to toxic chemicals, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate change legislation in history. America has never been in a better position to lead as we are today. I don't know about that one either. I'm gonna be honest. I know none of this has been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcome a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our democracy, and we have revitalized and strengthened our allies around the world. It has been a great honor of my life to serve as your president, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is best for my party and the country for me to stand down and focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked with me, have worked so hard to see me reelected. I wanted to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today, what I always have, that there's nothing America can do when we do it together. We just have to remember we are the United States of America. Joseph Robinette Biden. So, JB is done. It's Joever, okay? So, this is kind of crazy. So, now, of course, he didn't endorse Kamala Harris in the letter. He did endorse her, I believe, on Twitter. and when he posted on Twitter. So he has endorsed Kamala Harris. So I believe at least some of the delegates that voted for him are probably going to vote for Kamala. I don't know if they're going to have some sort of open convention, basically where the delegates can be able to go to vote who they want to vote for. The nominees or the other people who want to try to be president can go and try to court the delegates, or if they're just going to, circle the wagons around Kamala. That's possible, but Kamala's I guess she's more functioning than Biden. But she does this word salad thing that's just kind of weird.
I think it's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past, but
it's definitely going to be interesting. Like, I kind of want to see the debate. I got to see the debate between her and Trump. All right, like I've been kind of, low key tuned out of the politics because it's just been insane. Like after the farce of the Republican primary, I was just kind of toned out. But yeah, what I'm saying, it's interesting now. Of course, possible running mates. Pete Buttigieg is probably the first one that comes to mind. He has the name recognition. People know him. I don't know much of what he has done. I don't know much about Mayor Pete. I know he was the mayor of South Bend. I don't even know what state that was in, to be honest. He's right now he's the head of transportation. So I think he's a good possibility. Of course, he is gay, so that might hold him back a little bit with certain voters. Josh Shapiro has come up a lot. He is the, I believe, governor of Pennsylvania. So a lot of people have been talking about Josh Shapiro. He's a possibility, especially to try to get Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is kind of a blue state, but the whole assassination attempt that I'm going to talk about later in the video was in Pennsylvania. So Trump's got a big presence there at the moment. So I can see Josh Shapiro helping Kamala with that. And then my personal pick would be Mark Kelly. All right, I think Mark Kelly would be interesting. Mark Kelly is a former astronaut. He is married to Kathy Gifford. I think it's her name, Kathy Gifford. She was a senator who got somebody tried to assassinate her. She got shot years ago. And so we kind of watched her recovery. That was a big thing that was reported years and years ago. I think that will probably work for her. He is the senator from Arizona, and I think that will work. Because Arizona is kind of like this weird purple state where it's like it's not exactly Republican, it's not exactly Democrat. You know what I'm saying? The governor's Democrat, and of course the senator's Democrat, but I think there's a lot of Republican voters there. So, that can kind of picking Mark Kelly can kind of cinch that for her at least a little bit. So, interesting times we live in, man. Assassination attempt, president got COVID, drops out the race. Now we can have an open convention. Like, that's crazy. So, first off, let's talk about the crazy weekend that we just had, getting ready to go into the weekend that we're about to go into now, probably into now because this probably comes out Saturday. So
embarrassing.
Last weekend there was an attempted assassination attempt. That's so stupid. There was an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Moving his hair. Hold. When you're ready. On you.
Ready?
Move.
Up.
Move. Go.
Up. Hawkeye's here. Get ready.
We ready?
Okay, we are watching live at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, where former President Trump was speaking on the stage.
And of course, that caused a whole bunch of chaos. There's been a whole bunch of takes. It's only been 1 week, and there's already like dozens of conspiracies. Some people think that the Secret Service was in on it. Some people think that the Secret Service was too slow because there were women in it. Some people think that the whole thing was staged. Some people think that all conservatives are evil. It's been a week, bro. What the craziest thing I saw come out this week was apparently the perpetrator of this crime, Thomas Matthew Crooks, may have communicated his intentions to assassinate the former president in a message on Steam, of all places. U.S. senators were reportedly told in an all-member briefing on July 17th. So on Steam. So on Steam, this guy reportedly, posted his intentions to assassinate the president. And it was kind of something edgy, like on July 13th, my debut begins. Something edgy like that, you know what I'm saying? And the kid doesn't really look that edgy. He doesn't seem like the edgy type, but it's possible. Maybe he had like a light Yagami syndrome. He had a God complex or something. Then, of course, not too long after that, the FBI comes and denies that this was the case, and they think that maybe it was a fake account. Now, personally, I think this whole thing is kind of weird. I'm not going to go down any conspiratorial rabbit holes. There's enough of those on Twitter. But I do think it's kind of weird that this kid had no social media at all. Like no Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. This man didn't even have a MySpace page, bro. Like, this man didn't even have a Truth Social. And there's probably like, 12 people other than Trump that got one of those. He doesn't have one of those either. So it's like, where was this guy's online footprint? Like, it's crazy. Like, now I know that eventually there will be a generation of kids that don't like social media, because eventually social media is not going to be cool. You know what I'm saying? But this kid is like a Gen Z, like a Zillennial, whatever they call that in between generation. He had a social media. I feel like they scrubbed this man's social media for whatever reason. Maybe they did it to hide something. Maybe they did it to cause conspiracies so that people can come up with all these conspiracies and it's a big smoke screen. I don't know. I just find the fact that homie posted on Steam to be crazy. And to be honest, if they really did scrub his social medias, all right, like Steam would be like the last place they would look for anything. So that probably would be the place that like his last bit of online footprint would be left. So it is what it is. All right. So the other thing I wanted to add to this video was, a couple days ago, Microsoft announced that it had reportedly shut down a major diversity, equity, and inclusion team, according to an email sent by the team's leader to a number of staff last week, in which they state that the company is no longer see DEI programs as business critical. So this is kind of huge. All right, this really shows that the winds are changing when it comes to this culture war stuff. So because if you don't know what DEI is, it's diversity, equity, and inclusion, and basically what it means is they try to diversify the workforce. So not just hiring white dudes or white people, people of color, LGBTQ people, more women, stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with trying to have a diverse workforce if you do it via merit. You know what I'm saying? If you hire via merit, then that's fine. But a lot of times they're not doing that. A lot of times when it's DEI critical, they're just trying to check a box. You know what I'm saying? And so that usually reflects in the quality of the work. I mean, just look at what's going on in Hollywood.
Power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
Starlight works with Oprah and Tom Hanks to set up a satanic home delivery service. An order of a hot dog gets you a boy, a taco, a girl, a combo gets you a child they forced to have trans surgery, and a soda gets you a shot of adrenochrome.
Rome must fall. I need to only give it a push.
We make it out alive. All right. Hands on the mausoleum floor.
All right, you just look at what's going on over there. You know, DEI has thoroughly damaged the entertainment industry. You know, because they're not hiring people who can actually do the job or who care about the properties. They're just hiring people because they happen to be diverse, for the sake of being diverse. You know, so interesting. Times are changing. All right, so we move on to the other controversial gaming stories. We have Shift Up. So Shift Up, the makers of Stellar Blade and Nikkei, they're going public. So, you know what I'm saying? They're going public. They took the poison pill known as the IPO, and they're going public. So, yeah, I've talked about this several times. I don't know if I talked about it on this channel, but I know I've talked about it on the main channel. Never, ever, 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 ever take the IPO. Don't go public. All right. Once you go public and you have shareholders, you lose your destiny. You lose control of your company. All right. You might have control, but your company's objective goes from like making art, pleasing the customer, to pleasing the shareholders and keeping that green line green. That's it. That is your sole objective, because if you don't please the shareholders, one of two things is going to happen. Either one, they're going to remove you from power and get somebody in there that will make them money, or two, they're going to pull their money out and destroy the company. All right, look at what happened to Embracer Group. Embracer Group was like the champion of gaming for a minute, saving all these studios and these franchises. And then one investor pulled out. One pretty big investor too. It was like $1 billion investor. But one investor pulled out, and now the company is treading water, fighting for its life. Okay, so that's just how powerful investors and shareholders are, which is why you should never go for the IPO. One of the big reasons why, you know, companies end up going woke is because, like, oh, well, you know, if we go woke, we can get X number of, you know, we can become ESG compliant and get a bunch of, you know, DEI money. You know what I'm saying? Which is where Sweet Baby Inc. comes into play. That's why you see a lot of these big studios go to Sweet Baby Inc. And of course, all the usual suspects had their reactions to it. You know, Grum's Shift Up after going public and filing their first ESG report. And then they got Eve with a dude face. Bruh, it's crazy, man. I think this is a little bit of an overreaction though, because an ESG report is just that. It's reporting on what you're doing to become compliant with ESG. That doesn't mean that you have to do anything. It's just reporting on what you're doing. Now, of course, they'll probably encourage you to do some ESG stuff. That's probably why they force companies to do the reports once they become publicly traded companies. But that doesn't mean that you actually have to do anything. All right, I think that they would still, you know, especially since their brand is so tied up in being, you know, not woke, I think they would want to maintain that. So, all right, so this is one of the ones I wanted to do a main video on, and I think I'm still going to do a major video on this one. This is the Dell Walker situation. So, if you don't know, there's a guy who is a game dev or an artist or a concept artist named Dell Walker. I believe he works, or at least worked, with Microsoft at one point because of a different story that I'm going to do another time. But last month, he posted a tweet, and it says, There's been a handful of times I've pitched black woman characters that look like this, and then after 10 iterations, the concept or model comes back without a speck of the original beauty I pitched. And then he has another one that says, I'm not talking about mild changes. I'm talking about pose, aura, style, softness, age, flair. I hate giving Gamergate men fuel, but it's very difficult to pitch beautiful or vain black women in games without them coming back looking like grocery store aunties. There is room for both. So this is something that we have been kind of talking about for a while as far as the culture war goes. Yeah, like the uglification of women in video games, you know, fugly chicks in video games. And every time anybody says anything about it, they're like, oh, you're just a coomer, you just gooning, you know what I'm saying? You know, you just want to jack off the video game characters, which is kind of crazy because, I mean, no, I just want the characters to look appealing. If I have to look at this character for 40 hours, I want the character to look and sound appealing. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's kind of crazy. And then once you know, people started to talk about it, the gaslighting in that comment section was crazy. Like one dude says, I thought this wasn't happening. And then he quote tweets somebody else. And then it says, and yet here's a reputable game dev spilling beans on the truth. And so then the game dev, the other guy comes up and he says, we've all been saying this for years. And I'm like, where? Where have people in the industry been saying this for years? Unless y'all been doing it behind closed doors. Like, if y'all been doing it behind closed doors, okay, but we don't know that. All right, because whenever anybody says anything about it again, we get called coomers and porn addicts and all kind of crazy stuff. So what do you mean you've been saying this for years? All right, you know, that's kind of crazy. And then it goes on to like, you know, and the guy says, you called us porn addicts and incels for simply wanting beautiful characters in our video games. And now it's, oh yeah, it's true. We've known this. And then the guy comes back and he says, this isn't what you've all been asking for. What do you mean, sir? What do you mean? Like, the one thing that I think a lot of people have been asking for is attractive women in video games. Now, maybe since he is a black dude, maybe he's going to go for the racial angle. And maybe he's going to be like, well, no, you wanted like attractive white women in video games, or you wanted like white dudes in video games, like, which is an angle he can go with, because there are definitely some people in the culture war space that are just racist. Most people aren't racist though. Most people just want aesthetically pleasing characters. You know what I'm saying? They want a character that looks like the model and not like, like a alternate version, mirror universe version of the model that has a butt chin. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. And so, of course, there's been a whole bunch of theories as to why they're doing this. Some people believe that it's like the trans issue, where it's like they're trying to make things inclusive for trans people, so they make the women look less feminine, so that, like, you know, slightly passing trans women can like fit. But I find that to be kind of crazy, because that's literally like a fraction of the population. So why would you change the entire, you know, population for that's kind of crazy. Like, that's super crazy. But I'm going to be doing a bigger video on this, but I did want to touch base on this, mainly because of this last part right here, where he says, after some private DMs today with other black devs, I will no longer be publicly discussing black representation in games for the foreseeable future. No more panels, articles, podcasts, nothing. This is not up for discussion, nor is it an invitation to try and change my mind. Cheers. So that's the thing right there. All right, and I've actually had this in some of my other black escapism videos, where you get pushback from the black community, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what happened to him. I think he got, you know what I'm saying, they got to him, you know what I'm saying? They got him, and it was like, hey, if you keep talking about this, we're going to turn you into a raccoon. All right, you know what I'm saying? We're going to call you a think piece black. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about this in a bigger video, but I wanted to add this one in there too. So, this was another individual video right here. The Genshin Impact controversy. Oh boy, this is fun right here. We go from the fuglification of women in video games to race swapping. Boy, so they all started with Genshin Impact, and they dropped the voice actor announcement for Auroran. So they dropped the announcement for this character, and they dropped the character model, and the character model looks like a edgy, it looks like a emo anime wolf boy. And so of course people got like super mad about this, because apparently Auroran is based off of like a god of the Yoruba people. So if you don't know, the Yorubas are an African tribe or African subset of people that live in like the Nigeria, like West Africa area. And of course, Auroran is based off of one of their gods. And so they said that this is whitewashing. And I'm like, I look at this dude and I don't see white. He looks like a emo wolf boy anime character. He looks Asian. All right. And more than likely, the reason he looks Asian is, Genshin Impact is a Hoyoverse game, and Hoyoverse is made in China, and Chinese people don't rock with black people like that. Well, I can't say that. It might be some non-racist Chinese people. Let's just say that black people don't sell well in Asia and China. So of course they would make a game or make characters that are based around their region. Which is why most of these characters are Asian. Nobody said anything about the Greek character that got race swapped to look like an Asian character. Like, most of these characters look Asian. All right. And so then once the funniest part about this is, once this kind of started to blow up on the internet, this was the response from the Genshin team. This is a work of fiction and is not related to any actual people, events, groups, or organizations. Please refer to the official game in-game notice for details. He said, hey, it's a game, go touch grass. Bruh, I'm sorry. That is the perfect reaction to this, okay? Alright, they said, no, it's fine, it's fake, man, it's not real, go touch grass. You know what I'm saying? It's a work of fiction. And that's the way you should react to these things. It's not real, okay? It's a work of fiction. All right, if you don't like it, then just don't buy the character. You know what I'm saying? It's based loosely off of Yoruba. Auroran or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And the weird thing about it, where were these people with Assassin's Creed Shadows? Assassin's Creed Shadows, they're taking real people and doing different things with them. What about Netflix? Netflix takes real people and race swaps them. Real people that walk the earth. They breathe the air that everybody else was breathing. And nope, you're black now. It's like, nobody said anything about that. But all of a sudden, we're going to take this fictional African god and make him into an emo wolf boy. All of a sudden, the clouds are falling. Oh my gosh. That's crazy, bro. But yeah, that's gonna be a video though. So this was funny. This story right here was funny. I ran across this tweet, right? Because I hadn't seen the Gladiator 2 trailer yet, but I ran across this tweet and it said, breaking, Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2, Roman Coliseum, gladiators, classical era, will feature original songs by Travis Scott, Metro Boomin, Ice Spice, Lil Yachty, Playboy Cardi, and Post Malone. What? Bro, and look, don't get me wrong. Like, I think you can mix and match musical themes and eras and stuff pretty well. But I don't hear any of these people and think classical Rome. All right, like, I mean, a whole lot of stuff was going on in like them Roman parties, but I don't think anybody was, you know what I said, dropping it like it's hot to Ice Spice. Well, nobody backing it up to daggone Ice Spice, bro. You know what I said? Won't no twerking going on, man. I can't wait to see like the dark, smoky club scene. You know what I'm saying? When the Gladiator is coming, looking for that general that killed his family, and then freaking Playboy Cardi starts playing like that scene from Batman. Like, that jig will be crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? So of course I did a little research into this, and I looked at the trailer, and of course Denzel is in the trailer, and that's one of the first things I noticed, because Denzel is actually playing Serenas or Macarinus. I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm gonna be honest. But Macarinus was a Roman emperor. He was one of the minor Roman emperors. But he wasn't black. Okay, he was born in Caesarea in North Africa, but he wasn't black. All right, not everybody that was born in Africa was black. You got to remember that North Africa was heavily colonized, okay? All right, the Carthaginians, they were Phoenicians. They weren't black people. Weirdly enough, you know, Denzel is also going to play Hannibal, who was also not black, but it is what it is. I guess that's Denzel's career now, just playing historically race-swapped people. But, yeah, you know, that's one thing. The other thing is, of course, the trailer song. Everybody got pissed off about this one. They used No Church in the Wild by Kanye and Jay-Z. And I'll be honest, as a Kanye fan, I don't think this was their best outing. This was not their best outing. Like, I heard this song a couple times, and I get it, but it's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, it don't give me that Kanye, that old Kanye feel. Because this song is like well over 10 years old. So this is old Kanye. This ain't like, hey, I don't like the Jews Kanye. You know, this is like old Kanye, you know. And this don't feel like old Kanye, you know what I'm saying? But the reference in the song and the reason why they're using it is because the song actually references Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar. So No Church in the Wild is an existential renunciation of traditional and organized religious worship. Its theme is reminiscent of the famous line delivered by Cassius in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings. So basically saying it's not our fault, because, you know, we're under God, or we're under control, essentially. And he's kind of right about that, but the whole point of that situation was Cassius was trying to get Brutus to help with this plan to kill Caesar. And Caesar was Pontifex Maximus, which is the head of the Roman Church, the religious paganism of Rome, the pagan religion of Rome. Pontifex Maximus was the head of that. That was Julius Caesar. And one of the reasons why Brutus didn't want to kill him was because he didn't want to commit like sacrilege. And so, you know, like Cassius was like, don't worry about that. Like, he's just a man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Essentially trying to get him to kill Julius Caesar. All in all, interesting controversy, man. I do agree that this song does not fit the trailer. I don't think you necessarily need something classical. You just need something that has a similar theme to the trailer in question, and that you can match the action and the scenes in the trailer too. And it's not this song. It's not this song. So that's about it for this. I got more videos coming for you guys. I definitely want to do that Del Walker video. I want to talk about the more about the Genshin Impact and political video coming up sooner or later. So that's about it. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, people, keep it real.